Scott is with us in Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, Scott, what's up, man?
Hello, Dave. Hey, Dr. Deloney. First of all, Dave, congratulations. Dr. T is such a great addition to the lineup.
Well, thank you. Job. We agree.
Welcome.
Thanks, Brother Scott. And your check is in the mail, brother.
All right. Waiting for that. Since I'm on BS2 right now. So anyway, to my question, my wife and I, like I said, we're on baby step 2. We got a ways to go. We're currently cash flowing 2 kids through college. My parents, who are 80 years old, never saved for retirement. Dave, I called in last year. You helped me guide me through bailing my parents out of a financial crisis. And then you sent them through FPU and set them up with a financial coach. They fully completed both. And you also sent me Boundaries, which I read. Last month, they called me to tell me, not ask me, that they needed me to co-sign a loan for them because my mom wants cosmetic surgery they can't afford.
At 80?
So, yeah.
I don't even want to ask.
Well,
yeah.
I could make it exciting, but it has to do with dental work.
Oh, okay.
So I told them I was not going to dismiss the principles I live by to enable their behavior, especially after they ostensibly learned the same thing I did. Anyway, my birthday was August 30th. It came and went without a call or a card. My father now spends time posting passive-aggressive stuff on Facebook about how children are supposed to treat their parents. Now, I know I'm right by not co-signing, and I'm not sure from a relationship standpoint what I'm supposed to do here. I wouldn't let them starve or be thrown out on the street, but this is a want, not a need. We're all angry, obviously. One of us is right, but we're at a stalemate.
That hurts so bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Scott, I hate that for you, brother. So here's the deal. When it comes to what's the right thing to do financially, of course you know that you're right. And when it comes to the right thing to do relationally, of course you know you don't need my validation, but you're right. You drew a boundary that was best for you and for your family, and you held them to it, and I'm proud of you for that. And you're getting to see what the other side of a boundary looks like when someone pings off the walls or the fences or the boundaries you drew, and they choose to react immaturely. And the hard part is you love your parents, you love your mom, you love your dad individually and together, and they're choosing to make their own path as adults are able to do. And that hurts and that stinks, and you're going to have to grieve that. But the reality is they're 80, they're allowed to do whatever they want to do. And I would suggest you turn off Facebook and don't listen to the nonsense, and you continue to be mature and you continue to be adult, and yes, you send them cards on their birthday because children honor their parents, and you make sure they're included when it's appropriate, but you're going to have to grieve this part of it, man, because that just stinks.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I hate that for you.
The only recompense you've got is this. There's only one kind of a relationship that requires money to be transferred. It's called prostitution. And so if your relationship is money dependent, you're in that class. You don't have a relationship, in other words. Because that's not a relationship, that's a transaction. Agreed?
I agree.
And so
I just don't know how to deal with them.
I'm just saying it's the only way you have to get your brain around. And honestly, it's chapter 2, I believe, maybe 1 even in Boundaries, that says you're not crazy. You remember that chapter? You're not crazy. Because when you get this ping off the boundary, like John described it, what you start to feel is that you're crazy, like you did something wrong. Am I a bad son? Am I being a legalist? Am I being too hardcore? And so forth. And it's like, no.
Scott, you were just asking how to deal with this?
Well, yeah. I mean, nobody wants to pick up the phone at this point.
And so here's the deal. Call them in and check in. How's everybody doing? You can be the mature grown-up one there. And if they choose to respond in immature ways, then you can begin to develop new boundaries against that. The challenge with boundaries is we feel so good when we finally draw them, and we forget that boundaries do have consequences. And boundaries do have emotional and feeling, responses. And sometimes people don't respond well to our boundaries, and it hurts.
See, a boundary is when someone feels like boundaries needed when someone feels like they're entitled to something of yours that they're not entitled to. And you tell them that. Almost always there's a response of anger.
But I think we get so excited that we're drawing a boundary that we feel good and we do it, and it's like, and we forget that then people come up against it and say, well, then you're not my son, or I don't love you, or if my son really loved me.
If I can't do cocaine in the living room, Dad, then I just won't let you be my dad if you're going to throw me out for doing that. Well, I'm sorry. We don't do cocaine in our living room.
Or it's going to be your fault that my kids are going to fill in the right? So people get to respond, and they're going to respond.
Your grandchildren are going to be hungry because of you.
Because of you, right.
Not giving this 36-year-old without job for 2.5 years any money. This kind of thing. And so it's your fault somehow. It's not your fault, man. It does hurt.
I hate that.
It does hurt. It breaks your heart. But I agree with John. I mean, just call them and have a conversation. But here's the thing: don't try to call them and fix it.
No, there's nothing to fix.
They can't. They're not. There's no fixing this. They're just going to get over it, or they're not.
Yeah, and I always want to encourage people to be the mature party, be the respectful party, the relational party, but also protect yourself and don't keep putting yourself in harm's way.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate that for you, Scott.
It's awful.